everyone! Recently, you saw the official trailer for Phantom Liberty, and today we have a special treat. I sat down with narrative director Igor Sojinsky, and together we took a deep dive into some of the cool new stuff we showed off in the video. If you missed the trailer, let's start by watching it first.
There's gotta be a way out of this.
Johnny, I'm dying. There's nothing can stop that.
V. My name is Songbird. I'm an NUS intelligence.
Man, this trailer is great.
I know about the bomb ticking in your head.
Oh wow, look at the ratio.
Save your life.
What's the catch?
I need you to get to Dogtown.
Attention all Dogtown residents. The President managed to crash her Space Force One into our humble district.
Man's got 1,001 reasons to want Myers as a hostage. Sleeper agents. Time to wake them up. So NUSA's tossing us back into the fray, huh?
Stay sharp. We're in the wolf's den now.
I'm not going full screen, I want to see the chat.
Get Myers out of there. Time to evac. Her safety is the top. Shit! They catch us out here, we're dead. Wait, hear that? God almighty, it's moving! Run!
I wonder how many people watch the trailer for the first time now.
Someone ratted us out.
You know, V, treason ain't ever black and white.
It's a charade, V.
Wherever she goes, people get hurt. Bodies drop.
Oh wow.
Just want what Songbird promised me. The cure.
The situation's changed. You need to know if you're with me.
I think the armor of the max TAC units is upgraded or updated.
Come on, got iron in your head. Gotta put it to someone's head. Pull the trigger.
If I don't do anything, and do it soon.
I wonder who that is.
Awesome stuff, a lot to take in. Thankfully, I have narrative director Igor Sojinsky here with me. Igor, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Hey.
We'll be going clip by clip, and we'll be dissecting what we just saw, and we'll start with the setting, Dogtown. Looks like a lot of chaos, a lot of control maybe in this part of Night City, but tell me more.
Yeah, pretty right actually. Dogtown, formerly known as Combat Zone, but renamed to Dogtown by one Kurt Hansen. It's the guy who you saw on the billboard. His current role of Dogtown.
So it has two names
a
actually.
Mix between a tyrant, a protector, but first of all, a businessman. Our inspiration when creating Dogtown with its internal dynamics and politics, and also Kurt Hansen's character, were South American drug lords, guys who invest into local communities, build schools, bridges, become those reverend figures, but actually at the same time to treat those communities as a cover-up to all their dirty, shady deals, drugs, weapons, you name it.
Caring for the community.
Yeah, caring for the community. Yeah, and this is exactly the case here. Kurt controls Dogtown, at least parts of it, using Barghest. Barghest is his military unit. It's like part gang, part military unit. Actually, it consists of both Militech soldiers from Kurt's unit who stayed behind in Night City during the last corporate war, decided not to come back home and just make this area their own.
Wow.
And also it consists of like different murders who joined, since then.
Interesting mix of people coming from different walks of lives.
Yeah, and they aren't exactly the most sorted out military unit. Sometimes they do things on their own, but for sure they all very much respect Kurt, and he's like where this, just...
He's the boss.
He's the boss. Yeah. Dogtown itself is actually a very interesting place, full of contrasts. Is this weird mix of, as you said, like authority and anarchy. You have areas which are controlled by Barghest and also like safe in a way. You can find, rave parties under the stars in other places. Other places are just so dangerous that almost no one goes there, and it's very easy to get killed there. Trauma doesn't come to Dogtown
I'm not surprised.
because it's too dangerous. Actually, the whole district was supposed to be this kind of like paradise entertainment / casino hotel strip, but the whole development was interrupted by the war, and now you have this. It's more like a squat mixed with the free trade zone, and this free trade is actually a big selling point of Dogtown, let's say, because it's a place free of corpos, but most importantly, free of corpo taxes.
Yeah.
So if you want to do some kind of deal, Dogtown is the place. On the black market here, you can find all kinds of stuff, from some weird tech you wouldn't find even in Kabuki, as custom, custom cyberware, to stolen corporate equipment, to even if you are, coming from a different part of the world and you need it for your internal needs, a tank. Yeah, would you like one?
Yeah, me totally. I could always use a tank, but yeah, don't get your hopes up. You cannot buy a tank and go with Johnny and go to the Arasaka Tower and destroy everything. Think about it. But it is a place. If you're pretty much in the market for something like this, you can get it.
I like that you have to mention that.
Crazy and also awesome at the same time. Let's move on. We're seeing a character appear throughout this video, and she is called Myers. She seems to be a prominent figure. Like, what can you tell me about her, and what's her relationship with 2V or the player in this case?
This is President Rosalind Myers, president of NUSA, right now in a bit of a pickle due to the crash landing of her Space Force One inside Dogtown. She's, as all characters we try to create, we try to give them like different aspects to them, so they're just not like a function, This is the president who gives orders, and we try to look for different like faces and aspects in Myers too. Yeah. So she's a former Marine, a soldier, a very.
She looks like she's capable with a gun.
She's very capable. She's a badass actually, but maybe even for her, the whole Barghest forces and whole Dogtown against her is might be even too much for her. And this is where V comes in to help her get out of there. But it's not the only like face of Myers. Let's say she's also a very capable and like logically thinking politician. At the same time, she has this human aspect to her, and like there will be moments where like emotions take over. Let's say. So I hope players will find her like a complex and interesting character.
Yeah, she looks freaking amazing. Okay, next up we have some giant thing waking up, and what is that thing? Looks scary. Am I supposed to be afraid of that?
Well, you might. Yeah, this is Militech Chimera. It's part of this Militech equipment left behind during the last corporate war. A remnant, you could even say a ghost of the past, actually, but maybe some things shouldn't be left behind, because in the wrong hands they can cause a total mayhem, which might be a case in this here as well. Chimera is equipped with all kinds of weapons and might or might not be obstacle on these adventures.
Yeah,
okay, so
it's gonna be a challenge.
We'll see. Might not or might not be. Okay, might be or might not be.
I get it. Next up,
okay.
Star Power.
So that means it is based on our choices.
Important character for the story, but how important and what's his relationship to V?
One of the most important, actually, I would say that together, with Reed, V, and Songbird are like three most important characters here. Reed is this kind of guy that if you want to change a government in another country, this is the guy you send there, and it just kind of happens. No one ever finds out how.
Nice.
And but it did happen. A master spy working for NUSA for many years, recruiting agents, doing those kinds of like super difficult missions. Around 7 years ago, put on a back burner, became a sleeper agent, and now during the course of Phantom Liberty story, he's woken up again, and will be working closely with V on a mission in Mission Dogtown. It's not always gonna be necessarily super smooth, but well, conflict is storytelling, so this is like what we want here.
Perfect.
And as with Myers and any other character, like we try to create a complex, layered character, even more so with such an amazingly cool actor as Idris Elba to play him like you want to, get the most out of him. And so Reed is, for example, he's super loyal, but those loyalties, they can clash sometimes. He's both loyal to, the greater good, the safety of the country, of the state, but he's also very loyal to the people who are close to him. And at the same time, there are like
okay, that's good to know.
Inside him, which he also wants to stay true to. And those loyalties, sometimes they might pull him into different directions, push and pull and so on, and he will be facing some difficult choices, which we will also have a chance to like affect.
Yeah, it's amazing that you mentioned this, because whenever you guys create characters, I feel like they have, like you said, like different directions that are kind of pulling on them, and they're not very like linear. They're not like, okay, this is my one loyalty and motivation. There's multiple things, which makes them more relatable and makes them more human in this case.
It's also an interesting part of like writing process, really, because first when you create characters, usually they are a little bit more like functional or like a little bit simpler, but then with every dialogue you write, every rewrite, every iteration of the story, they kind of become like full and become their own characters in a way. And in the end, you feel it's actually a person and not just this like design you made. And I think we went through this path with Reed as well.
Yeah,
All right.
amazing stuff. I can't wait for players to actually discover it for themselves and have their own opinion on the character, because I feel like opinions about characters is something that we're kind of known for, and something that the community always dissects and then has like these, discussions on social media talking about like, do I like this character or dislike this character? So it's something really
This
good.
is what I'm really hoping for in this case.
Yeah, perfect. All right, moving on. Next up, we have a character changing her appearance, and this is something that we haven't seen before. Is this something just kind of playing into the spy genre, spy theme of the expansion?
What I really love about games is that they are usually just much bigger than movies, just in terms of like pure runtime of hours to spend with it.
Yeah.
And so you don't really want to spend all this time just like in just one approach, one angle to it. And spy thriller is a very like potent and rich genre you can take from different places. And there are like different fantasies to it. So we have this super agent fantasy, right, which is like Mission Impossible or James Bond, cool gadgets.
Okay, the mask.
Of them being super cool.
I think that's used to
And
change
this,
your
for
appearance.
example, would be aspect of this, but we also got inspired by many like other things. You can have different approaches. You can have this Born, which I personally really love this series. When it's just one man against the agency, against this power, trying to escape and like outsmart them. You can have this fantasy from like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, when you actually work for the agency, but it's this crazy intrigue of like lies and of super smart people trying to outsmart one another, and you just have to be the top dog in this case. There's the spy game, and first and foremost though, we tried to draw inspirations from actually real world
places.
From books, interviews, reportages about real agents, real spy operations that happened all around the world. We always in our games try to create this like grounded base. So it's not just like a remix of another things you saw, a remix of a remix in a way, but there's something really true and relevant to it. And so in the end, you kind of try to end up with something that's both like cool and recognizable, but at the same time real and unique.
Yeah. And also the setting, right? Night City also is something, and actually cyberpunk as a genre kind of plays into this, because the high tech and also kind of everything being kind of dark, it kind of plays to the whole thing. Plus then you, like you said, you have the movies, you also have real spies, so actually real people who worked in the field, and you're also pulling from all these directions and adding the cyberpunk motif and theme to it, and actually building this something that is familiar yet different at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. In the end, we want to end up with something new and unique and fresh, and like I'm always looking for something that hasn't been done before, and like, or maybe not in this way. and we tried to put our own spin on this. We added even a little spice of 80s and 90s action movies, which I think make it all a little bit more just dense and exciting. And yeah, I hope it worked out.
Last question and last clip that we're seeing, a character that we see appear quite a few times throughout the video that we just saw. Who is she? Because she seems like she's very important to V, and also to Solomon Reed in some sense.
Yeah, exactly. The third, I would say, most important character in the story, next to Reed and V. Personally, my favorite one. I think it's because she is just, for me at least, she feels so similar to V in certain ways. I always imagine that maybe in another universe, it could be actually V who's working for NUSA and Songbird being the street punk, really. And I hope players will perceive her, that was at least our goal, as kind of a mirror to V and to themselves, that by interacting with Songbirds, they will gain a new perspective on V's motivations, V's actions, V's goals. And yeah, it will just like make Songbird somehow interesting to them. But actually, you played the game, so like, what was your take on her?
Actually, it's one of the characters that I instantly fell in love with. But I also see that she might be a character that some players might not enjoy, because she also has a lot of layers to her, and the motivations and what she does, and also how she's kind of interacting with V can be seen as helping, or maybe not exactly. I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, she seems to be kind of like this divisive character.
Yeah, and actually we had plenty of internal tests. Our whole, not only dev team, but everyone in the studio playing the game.
True.
And we're asking people how they felt about different characters. And in regards to Songbird and actually many other characters, which I'm very happy about, she was divisive. Like some people were like, "Oh, I just sympathize with her so much. She's, you know, she's my kind of person." And others were like, "I absolutely don't understand her and like don't want to support her in any way." And I think it's great. Actually, I'm really happy about it because I think like really good characters don't have to be exactly always likable. You have to be able to understand them and empathize with them. You don't have to like them. And it's just like with real people, right? It's not like everyone likes everyone. We are different.
Exactly.
And this is where the magic is, I think, of like being real.
Yeah, that's something that we actually talked about before. This is what makes characters real and relatable, that they're human. Like they have different motivations. They are, you know, they're not, like we said previously, they're not linear. They have different things that are pulling them from different directions. And that's what makes it really, really cool. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Igor, amazing stuff. Thank you so much for diving with me into the narrative part. Super interesting. It's really also good to
now give us the gameplay.
Like when players are, you know, not agreeing in terms of like who they like or dislike. So that's also very important. Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this exclusive deep dive into the official trailer. There will be more information coming about the expansion, so stay tuned to learn more.
Interesting. Okay, so that was it. Alright, I need to talk about some things here. Yeah, so some things I put on a notepad. I'm actually quite curious about these things. So we know the bar guests, so RX Militech and gangs, etc. That's somewhat interesting, I would say. Trauma doesn't go to Dogtown. Now this is interesting because in one of the comics we have the Trauma Team comic book. They went to the combat zone in that comic. So after the events of the comic book, they refused to go to the combat zone anymore or any longer, because as we know, the combat zone is also known as Dogtown, right? And if the comic is canon to the story, then the Trauma Team did go to the combat zone at one point in the story, right? So is this something new? Them not going to Dogtown slash the combat zone? Maybe it's something they decided after the events of the comic, right? All right. This is interesting actually to me. After I saw the comic, this is very interesting when they decided to mention the Trauma Team doesn't go to Dogtown. Okay, cannot buy tanks. I mean, I'm not surprised they had to mention that, because people would come up with or take out of context some of the things they said. All right. And from what they said in the trailer, I think the Spider Bot is a fight which we can avoid. Right? So it is based on our choices. From what he said. Can I go back a bit? Never mind. The idea is that we can skip it probably. Okay, next up, they mentioned how Reed is a master spy, how you send him in a country to change the government, and he does it very well, and how he's loyal to the country, like NUSA. NUSA, and he's also loyal to the people close to him. This is also great to keep in mind. They also talked about the changing your face cyberware and stuff like that. How it is inspired from spy movies. All right, I figured that out from the beginning. I mean, it's a spy thriller. It was pretty interesting how they decided to speak on that, in my opinion. And then they started talking about how Songbird is similar to V. But in what way? In my opinion, Songbird is similar to V. If you've seen the trailer, you can see a sequence with Songbird where you can see that she's almost fully a robot, right? And I'm thinking that she's a construct, maybe. Maybe a construct. Maybe a construct. And why is that? Alright, so I don't know anything about the previous spoilers of the game or the story, whatever. But in my opinion, this theory is alright, I would say. So why do I think she's a construct? First of all, she is almost fully a robot, right? So she's not going Cyber Psycho, right? She's a Netrunner. Let me add this over here. She's almost fully a robot from what we've seen in the trailer, right? There is a theory about Adam Smasher not going Cyber Psycho because he too is a construct. Smasher being a construct because he isn't going Cyber Psycho, which is plausible, I would say. He's 98% a robot himself, and he's not going, I mean, he's fully decked out in cyberware, and he's not going insane, I mean, Cyber Psycho, which is either he has some kind of suppressants fueled into him, like in the Edge Runners anime with David, but we don't see any kind of cyberware which is used for that, so I believe he could be a construct, right? I've seen this mentioned by some other people. Alright, So maybe something similar happened to Songbird, right? And then I have no idea how she contacts you, how she contacts V, right? So she is able to contact V. She contacts V similarly to how V was contacted during the Perales questline. She contacts V similarly to the person who contacted V during the Perales questline when you're going to tell Jefferson Perales about what's happening to him, right? Similar to that thing. The thing calls V, and then V is getting these, I don't know how to call them. The construct is malfunctioning again, right? After the call or during the call, right? She contacts V similarly to how it's probably a rogue AI. How the rogue AI contacts V during the Perales mission. All right. So this is, keep in mind, she contacts V similarly. She says, "Yo, V, my name is Songbird. I know what's happening to you." And you also get malfunctions, heavy malfunctions shown in the trailer. So maybe that's because Songbird is toying with the relic. Maybe that's something that's happening, but I'm not sure on that. Another thing said by Solomon Reed is how everywhere she goes, something bad happens. Talking about Songbird, and then the end of the trailer is showing the black wall, right? Now with the wall which is supposed to keep AI or rogue AI on the other side, which is quite interesting because that's 100% going to be part of the game at one point or the expansion. So we have that to keep in mind as well. So maybe she's a construct. Like I said, I don't believe that she's able to contact V and toy with the relic just like that. And she also knows what is happening with V. To me, it seems like it's very close to the person calling V during the Jefferson Perales mission. I think it's way too close to forget or way too close to swipe away, right? It's, in my opinion, it's a good theory, right? That Songbird might be a construct, right? Or maybe I'm wrong, but I still think I'm right on this one. Who knows? We will see. I'm also interested about the leader of the Barghest, or the leader of Dogtown slash Barghest. Hansen, I think, is the guy's name. They say how he was part of Militech, alright. Just like how the Barghest are ex-Militech soldiers, some of them. So he's also a Militech soldier or high-ranking officer. And he's also kind of a politician, right? They compare him to drug lords from South America. who are doing stuff for the public, but then in the background they are doing their own shady dealings, right? So something like that. And we also see in the second teaser how V has a discussion with this character. All right. I'm quite curious to see if we can reason with this person. Maybe he's something like Royce, but maybe much more reasonable, maybe. And he's probably the guy who shot down the president's AV. He's most likely the guy, but we don't know for sure, right? Also, we have to keep in mind, we will have to talk to fixers, right? So we have the biggest fixer in Pacifica is obviously Mr. Hands. Mr. Hands. So what is he going to do, right? What is he going to do? Is he the one who's putting us in contact with Songbird, or is it that Songbird contacts us at some point after we start the expansion? Maybe it's happening this way, right? I'm quite curious about this one. I wonder if Mr. Hands will have a big role, or if he's just going to call V for missions and gigs. But we'll see what happens. For now, that's all I had to say. Not much to go on for now. They didn't release the gameplay. I hope they will. And yeah, it was quite an interesting developer breakdown. So thanks for watching and see you.